I hope everybody's having a great day today. I just wanted to share a story that me and some ladies was having at work, and it was very inspiring what we was talking about, and we was talking about the goodness of God, and we was just sharing stories about how God spared our lives. And one lady spoke, and one lady talked about how God healed her from an illness that could have taken her life. Another young lady was sharing and talking about how God spared her from 16 accidents. And yes, you heard me right, she said 16 accidents. And within us talking and telling our testimonies, I was letting it be known that God never spares us to waste away. And I was sharing my story, in which I'm going to share my story with you, because I can only tell my story the best way that I can, and nobody can tell it for me. And when my life got spared the very first time, me and one of my very best friends, Jerry Young, we was leaving church, and I'll never forget when that bad tornado hit on Southside and tore Southside up really bad. And we was at my mom's house, and we parked there, and in a blink of a second, I can just remember the skies turned black, and we was up in the vehicle, like we was literally in the air. We was in his neon car, and we was up in the sky. And I knew right then and there, I said, well, here we go. I figured it was going to either throw his car across the field or it was going to slam us into a pole. But I definitely knew our life was gone. But what did God do? Nope. He set it down, because God knew. He knew I have a purpose for my children's life. The second time that I had a near-death experience where God spared my life was I was out on Highway 45 down by the Ford place getting my vehicle washed, and it was the overalls on the tires. I was trying to beat oncoming traffic, and I remember shooting across the street. Well, as I shot across the street, my vehicle just turned. My vehicle was literally turning and spinning around, and I couldn't even grab the steering wheel to get it to stop. And all I know is I was just waiting on the impact, because I was like, well, my vehicle is definitely gone, because all I had was liability on it. And I said, well, probably my life is gone too. So what did God do? Again, being so full of mercy, being so full of grace, he stops the vehicle. He sets the vehicle right where it's supposed to be. It wasn't a vehicle on my bumper. It wasn't a vehicle beside me. It wasn't even a vehicle close in front of me. And I was in awe. And I just drove on my way. But see, let me show you how I repaid God for his goodness. Let me show you. You would think after God spared my life those 2 times, I was sold out for his kingdom. But you know what I did for God? I packed my bags and I said, God, I'm about to go move in with this man, because you're moving slow. You're not moving fast enough, God, and I'm going to go move in with this man. And I went to stand with the man who almost took my life. And again, I get myself in mess. And just like so many of us do, we get ourselves in mess. And we cry out to God to clean it up. And he does it again, because he's such a good, merciful God. And he loves his children. And he only wants the best for his children. But see, do you understand what me seeking and me being committed to a building got me? See, because I was so committed to that building, but I wasn't committed to Christ, you know, we rationalize with God and say, but God, you understand. I mean, God, it's not like I'm sleeping with 2 men or 3 men. Come on now, God. It's just one guy. You know I got to stay with him, God, before I marry him. Right, God? You know I got to stay with this man before I marry him. And so we do things, again, we don't do things God's way. We do things our way. And I go to say that's not where God spared my life. God didn't spare my life for me to keep fornicating with the man. God didn't spare my life for me to sit and keep on watching pornography. God didn't spare my life for me to waste away watching movies on that TV all day saying, well, I'm not hurting nobody. That's not why God spared me. And the same way, that's not why God spared me. That's not why God spared you. See, it's somebody else who has a story just like mine, or you have a story similar to mine, but we probably all have a story. See, we can't even talk about the unseen dangers, but let's talk about them seen dangers that we know if it wasn't for the grace of God, we would not be here. Let's just talk about those and why God spared you and God got you here on this earth. See, God don't have you here to still lay on that couch all day and watch Netflix, or to play video games, or to sit around all day and gossip on that phone, or to sit on Facebook all day. That's not why God spared you. God didn't spare you to keep going out to the club, to keep drinking, to keep smoking. That's not why God spared you. God has a calling on your life. The same way God had a purpose and a calling on my life, God is doing the same thing for you. God has a purpose for your life. See, men, God didn't spare you for you to get back to that little black book and say, okay, I got some more women I need to get to. That's not why God spared spared you. God didn't spare you for you to keep on taking care of that other woman household. No, you need to just only take care of you and your wife household. That is not why God spared you. And I'm talking to some lady. God did not spare you to keep sleeping with that woman husband. Leave that man alone. Leave that man alone. God can give you your own husband, baby. You don't have to chase and lay up with another woman's husband. That is not God's way. God did not spare you, ladies, to keep on dressing provocative, and all that man want to do is lay with you. All that man want to do is play with you, and he don't want to set that big wedding day with you, okay? So we got to start getting things together. That's not why God spared you. And I'm talking to some man, I'm talking to some woman. God didn't spare you to keep on doing common law. God don't respect common law. God don't respect common law. I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to somebody. I'm talking to somebody. God does not respect common law. God did not spare you for common law. God did not make you for common law. And I'm telling some young lady, if that man don't want to marry you, if that man don't think you're good enough to marry, leave that man alone. Don't go another second, another hour, another minute, another month, another week, another year laying with that man, and he's wasting your time, and it's a chance that y'all can bust the gates of hell wide open. It doesn't take nobody that long to figure out if they want to be with you. And so my thing, I not say young ladies, but let's just keep it real. It's people in their 40s and their 50s and their 60s and their 70s, and it's just ridiculous. And it's time that we have to stop. And I'm going to need men. Men, y'all going to have to start seeking the word of God. Y'all going to have to seek in God's word more so you can want to be committed to that woman. And women, y'all are going to have to start being committed to God and his word so you can put your foot down and say, leave me alone. Leave me alone. If you don't want me to be your wife, leave me alone. See, it's got to be better. That's not why God spared you for. And I'm talking to somebody. That is not why God spared you. We must live right. We have to live right, and we have to do right. And God has a purpose on your life. God did not spare somebody to keep selling drugs. God did not spare somebody to keep on breaking into cars, breaking into houses, disrespecting mama, disrespecting grandma, disrespecting daddy. That's not why God spared you. God has a purpose for your life, just like God has a purpose for my life. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to somebody, and somebody needs to know that God has a purpose on your life, and it is for you to live and to build up his kingdom. And I'm speaking to somebody. So I don't know if this helped anybody. I hope that it will help somebody, because again, God had to open up my eyes because I was wasting away. I was wasting away. God spared my life 3 times. And it took for me to finally realize, and I'm going to be honest, even after that 3rd time, it took God showing me that I was headed to hell in a dream. If you just want to be truthful about it. See, that's ridiculous in its own account that I had to have 3 times where God spared my life, and I still didn't get the wake-up call because I was committed to a building and I wasn't committed to Christ. But when God showed me I was headed down that road to hell, I woke up finally. But what I'm saying is, don't let that be your story. Don't let God have to literally show you that you're falling into that pool of hell before you wake up. Don't let God have to have another experience where he got to spare your life in order for you to get it. Let's get it now and start living for God's kingdom, because again, God did not spare us for us to waste away. He did not spare us for us to waste away. So remember, God told death to behave for a reason. God told death to behave for a reason, and that reason is to spare you, and that reason is to use you to build up his kingdom. So in my closing, always remember, self-examination is the best examination, and Jesus Christ is Lord, and he's all we have. Have a great rest of the day.